So we're going to talk about poinsettias and other holiday plants today. And so let's talk about poinsettias first. There's so many different colors and types of poinsettias. I think I read that there's over 150 different types of poinsettias now. So hybridizers and growers have been, working with poinsettias to offer a huge selection. And so there's a great selection out there. Let's first talk about what the primary care for poinsettias is. And here's the kind of fun thing that I like to tell people is poinsettias, a lot of people will put them in their compost piles, throw them away at the end of the season. That's perfectly fine. I do it, and I'm a gardener. I just, it's one of those things that I won't go plant it in the yard. They're not really hardy. Mums are like another one of those in that category where I'll usually grow it for the blooms, enjoy it for the fall season. Maybe I'll plant it in the yard because a lot of them do come back, but sometimes they just make it into my compost pile, and that's just the way things are in gardening sometimes. But the poinsettias are pretty easy to care for, and so why I bring that up is, we're the mid-December time frame, so we've only got about 2 weeks before Christmas now. So bringing a poinsettia home and putting it in a location in your home and keeping it alive for a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, is not a huge, tall task. It's not real hard to do. What I always tell people is if you want it in a little bit of a underlit situation, that's okay. It's not going to live there for a long time, and you're probably not going to keep it there for a long time. Now, if you want to get length out of it, that's what I'm going to explain now. Let's talk about the best place to put your poinsettias. Let me grab one, just so we got one in my hand here. Got this little pretty pink one. So poinsettias are actually, the color of a poinsettia is actually the leaves. So the flower is actually that little yellow kind of pea looking thing in there. That's actually the flower in there. This is actually just its leaves. So these are the bracts, as they call them, and these change colors. I'll talk about a little bit about how you can do this and get the color on them. However, I will tell you it is a process, and I typically leave it to the growers, and I just buy a new one every year. And so I've never actually grown a poinsettia for an entire year, but I'll talk about that in a minute and kind of give you some pointers on that. The best situation in your home for a poinsettia is going to be a well-lit room. So I usually say medium to high light. I don't typically recommend putting them in a very, very sunny window that's going to get direct sun, but in a bright room where during the day you can have the lights off and it's still pretty well lit. So that's going to be a south or west facing room, maybe even east a little bit, but in a north facing room. And what I mean by that is, so let's talk about that real quick just to kind of run through what I'm talking about. Your windows are facing a direction around your home, and so if you're in a kitchen or a living room and you've got a south facing window, you're going to get the most amount of sun during the day. If you've got a north facing window, you're going to get hardly any sun, especially in the winter time frame. It's going to be a pretty dark room. Now you might have a room that's got two different windows that are facing two different directions. So you kind of just have to judge it and kind of see what you think. East is going to get morning sun. West is going to get the brighter afternoon sun. So I would typically say try and find a room that has a south or west facing window. However, I think you can get away with it in an east facing window. And again, if you're just planning on having a poinsettia for a couple weeks, then you probably are okay in a north facing window as well. It's not going to just all of a sudden go on you in a 2-week time frame. Now you can let us care for them and you can come and pick them up a week before Christmas. That's perfectly fine too as well. So you got a lot of different options there. I usually grab mine the week before Christmas as I'm here all the time, and I'll grab it, I'll take it home, I'll care for it for a few weeks, typically to about the early part of January, and then it usually makes its way into my compost pile pretty quickly. But I just love them. I think if there is a flower that says Christmas, it is poinsettias, and there's a lot of different colors and varieties. So we want a medium to high light area, not directly in sun, so not a south facing window. Don't put it right in the window. Try to avoid drafts as well. So I always bring that up because if you're putting it in a well lit room and you've got a window nearby and it's a little drafty, they don't like to be very cold. So they like to kind of keep the warmth up, which our homes are pretty much in that perfect temperature range. They're going to love being in that 68 to 74 range, which is typically what we keep our homes at this time. I know I have a sunroom that I actually kind of close off during the winter because it's not real well insulated. I wouldn't put a poinsettia in there because it probably gets down to almost 64, 62 in that room, especially with those cold nights that we just had. So I typically will bring my poinsettias and make sure that they're in a warm area that's well lit, and avoiding drafts. I bring that up also because we here at McDonald Garden Center don't put our poinsettias right at the entrance. So we've got a greenhouse, it stays nice and warm, we've got it well ventilated, but you typically won't come in and see them real close to the doors. Where you do see that is at the big box stores, and I don't want to say that those aren't good places to shop, but if you go into a supermarket or a Home Depot or a Lowe's or something, and you walk in and that wind blows in and you see all the poinsettias right there getting hit by the wind, those can actually cause damage, and you probably won't see it right at the beginning. So typically you won't see any of that leaf defoliation, you won't see any of the interior leaves falling off. It's usually about a week, and by the time you get it home and you bring it into your home setting, then it starts to deteriorate pretty fast. And that's why we try and keep our poinsettias a little bit further away from those front entrance doors, and we try and keep the temperatures pretty even keeled because poinsettias don't like sharp fluctuations in temperatures. I also bring that up because here's another great point is if you're going to buy a poinsettia, don't go shopping afterwards, especially on a cool day. So don't go and get your poinsettia and then go and run over to the mall or go somewhere else and do some shopping. You know, make kind of your plan for the day to get your poinsettia and go home and get it into your house. We also carry wraps, so if you want to wrap it as you take it to your car, that also helps kind of keep it protected, also keeps the warmth and the cold winds away from it. So we've got that covered for you. We keep our poinsettias really even keeled on the temperature, but temperature is important, so keep it away from drafts. Also keep it away from heaters in your home. So if you've got an area where your vent is nearby or you've got a radiator or some sort of heater in that area, it's going to dry it out much faster. And so typically try and keep them away from lots of wind, draft, and heat vents. So those are kind of pointers there. Now, that brings me to watering. So watering poinsettias, we want to keep them evenly moist. And so that's kind of always my hard thing. I love most indoor plants because you can do a wet-dry cycle. Wet-dry cycles are easy. You water it really well, you let it dry out. You water it again, you let it dry out. It's a pretty simple process. But poinsettias don't like to get too dry. When they start to get too dry, you start to lose leaves. But they also don't want to be overwatered. So we don't want to saturate it too much. We want to just kind of keep it evenly moist. So typically in the home, kind of just watch it. Your best tool is right here on your hand, your finger, and just check the soil. If the top 1 to 2 inches is moist, you're fine. If it starts to dry out on the top, let's go ahead and give it a little bit of water. But we don't need to soak it. So we don't need to go and soak it. So poinsettias, medium to high light, keep them away from drafts, and keep them evenly moist. So that's the best way to care for them. And if you do that, you can keep them growing year round. A lot of people do try and grow them year round. Most people will take them outside for a little bit of a summer vacation, keep it in a shady spot. We don't want to go straight from inside to outside in full sun. Take them out, put them on a front porch, underneath a tree or something where you can keep your plants from getting burned up from the hot afternoon sun in our summer months, and then you can bring it back in. Now, let me tell you real quick on how, if you want to get these bracts to form this color again, because these are going to start to go to green. All these leaves will go green, and it'll be green year round unless you force it to do this. Now, what causes the leaves to change color is the amount of daylight and the amount of darkness that they get. So we used to grow our own poinsettias, and I used to run the Hampton location. And when we grew our own poinsettias, we had big signs in the back saying, "Do not open doors after," I think it was probably, I think it was like 6 or 7 o'clock. Don't open the doors, don't go in, because we had them in darkness, and that's what they want to be. They need 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of sunlight. 12 hours of daylight, sunlight, 12 hours of complete darkness. So a lot of people in your home, if you're trying to force that, you got to start this around mid-October time frame, maybe even a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit later, depending. It's kind of a trial and error thing. It depends on the variety and how long it takes. And there's a lot of great information out there that I'm sure you can pick up on the internet, or you can always ask us. But typically, if you're going to try and get this to form color again, you want 12 hours of sunlight, 12 hours of darkness. And you want to start that typically in the mid-October time frame. So what you would typically do is keep this in a medium to bright light room And then around a certain time, you're going to want to move it into a dark area, a darker room. And typically what people have the most success with is putting it in a closet or something where you can completely turn off the light. Some people might even put a grow light in their closet, have it on a timer that it comes on for 12 hours, goes off for 12 hours. This is where I get into the point where I say, just buy a new one every year. They're a lot of fun. You can change your colors every year. So if you want to give it a shot, that's how you do it. Mid-October, 12 hours of sunlight, 12 hours of darkness. But if you don't want to do it, because it does take some time, just get a new poinsettia every year, or a couple, or many, and decorate your home with them for the holidays, and then that way you can change your colors. So I hope that helps. Let's see, Deborah said, I admire the different types of them at McDonald's. They are beautiful. So thank you very much. They are gorgeous. We have lots of different varieties, and that's what I'm going to get into next, is I'm going to talk about some of the different colors that we have and that we offer each year. Sometimes we change them throughout the years. So this is a pretty pink poinsettia. We carry lots of different sizes too. So we carry like a little 2-inch. I'm going to show you that in a minute. This is what we call our 4-inch size. And then we've got 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch. We've got some big ones. So we've got lots and lots to choose from. But this is that really, really pretty pink color. Love that one. And then, of course, we've got our red. So let me see. I'll just put this in this little pot here. I got this Amaryllis behind me. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But there's that gorgeous red poinsettia. Look at that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And what I also like to do, a little trick here, is, and I kind of walked around and looked at ours. If these buds here, these flowers, these are the flower buds, remember? If those are nice and tight, then you know that they're in good quality. If they're starting to open up and starting to kind of spread, then your bracts are going to start changing colors sooner. I looked at all of ours. All of ours have a really nice tight bud in there. Some of them are opening, but there's still more to go, and so that's a good sign. So I don't know if you can quite see that, but those are nice and tightly budded there. But of course the red is probably the most popular color. It is the most popular color. It is absolutely stunning. I know you can't quite see it with my shirt there, but it's a really pretty red color. Love these. And we've got those in every size. Of course we do. And so they pair great with white, as you can see there. So we've got the pink, we've got the red. There's lots and lots of different types of whites out there. I grabbed this one because it's kind of a cream color. I don't know if you can quite see it. See it with that white pot? So you can kind of see that cream color. I love the cream color. I think it's kind of a different, kind of muted white color. Pairs well with a lot of different things like magnolia. It looks great with magnolia. It looks great in a gold kind of look. If you like a lot of golds, this really, really looks good. Whereas the white can kind of be a sharper contrast. But we've got this great, what you would probably classify as a white, but you can kind of see sometimes it's cream. I know that light makes it look a little bit whiter, but when you're right on it, it's more of a cream color, which I actually really like. So we've got those. This is one, and in fact, I'll bring that white one back up. Here's a little bit of a brighter white. Look at that. So you can see how bright white that is. Just gorgeous. So let's see if we put these two next to each other. Now you can really see the contrast there. So we got this really much, much whiter color, and then a little bit more of a cream color. You can kind of see how this is a little bit more on the darker side of the white spectrum. So whites are awesome. I love marble as well. So here's the marble. Look at that. With that pink, with that kind of cream edge. Again, love it paired with that cream color. Looks awesome. But the marble is a really pretty color, kind of a little bit different. So it's a variegated bract. So it's got the pink on the inside with that kind of beige to white edge to it. Really pretty. Lots and lots of those. Let's see, what else we got? We got a couple unusual ones. Look at that. Gorgeous. This is called Picasso. And Picasso is a really pretty one. It kind of has, I mean, it looks on the camera like it's a little bit more of that pinker color, but it's actually really red with some white striping on the center of it. And you can kind of see how it's like different. All those bracts are just kind of slightly different. Not one is the same. These new ones in here are a little bit brighter red. As they get bigger and older, they start to fade a little bit more, but it is gorgeous. I mean, it is absolutely stunning. It's an amazing looking poinsettia, Picasso. So that's a really pretty one. This one is just stunning. So I think this is called Red Glitter or Jingle Bell. So Jingle Bell, which is a variegated leaf as well. So these bracts have a red bract with white striping in there, and it's irregular. It's not perfect striping, which I absolutely think is so cool. very kind of modern and different looking. So these are gorgeous. So this is Poinsettia Jingle Bell, and that's a 4-inch right there. And so we got different sizes in all of these, of course. And then something that was really popular a few years ago, but we did get in again, is the blue. So that fantasy blue. Now these are white poinsettias. You can see it on the underside. See that white? And then they just basically sprayed it with a plant dye that is safe for plants. So, and then they sprinkle a little bit of glitter on it. So we called it the fantasy blue poinsettia. It's really, really pretty. Something that I like this one because if you wanted to have this one, it fits well into a theme. If you do like an icy blue theme or something like that, it looks great. But what's also cool is it looks good, I think, into January and February as we continue through the winter. So this can kind of carry you through the winter season as well. I like to try and keep my poinsettias going as long as I can, but once they start to kind of change colors, I kind of get them out of there. But this one can kind of give you a little bit more longevity, which I think is really cool. So we've got some blue ones as well. We'll take a lot of the red ones and sprinkle them with silver or gold glitter. So you got lots of choices there. And those are, I'll tell you here in a second, those are some of the things that you can do at home as well. You know, a lot of people have that little snow, that little glittery snow. You can sprinkle that on your poinsettias. This one's called Winter Rose. So that one's really pretty. These are crinkled up bracts. So they're really kind of funny because they come on this shoot. So it's a stem with all these crinkled up little flowers on top. If you can quite see that. But it's called a winter rose because it kind of grows like a rose bush. So it looks really, really pretty, very different, very unusual, very compact head. Poinsettias make great cut flowers as well. So you can actually use these in arrangements. I always bring that up because sometimes, I know I've done it multiple times, I get it in the house, I drop it, or something happens and a branch breaks. Cut that flower off and you put it in a simple vase, it looks gorgeous. Another great tip is if something happens to your poinsettia and it's starting to maybe deteriorate a little bit faster or something, or you drop it like I've done multiple times, use some fresh greens. You know, put some magnolia or some conifer in there like a spruce or a Fraser fir cutting or cypress cuttings, and you can put those in there to kind of freshen it up and fill it up too, get you through the holiday season. But they make great cut flowers. This is called Winter Rose. Really, really pretty one. As I mentioned, we also have the little minis. So we've got these little mini red ones. I love these guys. So this is just a little tiny little 2-inch pot. So isn't that cute? And then, so what's cool about this is you can add these to a lot of different things. You could put them on, you know, a mantle. You could put them up on the mantle and have a bunch of little ones all through the mantle. They look great in little pots. They also look great in arrangements. So this is what I absolutely love, is just taking a pot like this, putting in a little arrangement and using that little mini poinsettia to just add a little bit of color. Maybe you've got a little arrangement in your home. Maybe you want to make one as a gift, which I think is a great idea. Just come in and pick up some mini plants. We've got lots and lots of mini plants. You know, mini cyclamen. This is a little mini cyclamen right here, so you can kind of see that blooming right there. See if I put my hand there so you can see the cyclamen blooms. You got the little variegated foliage. Poinsettia, a little mini orchid, and there you go. You got a little collection. You can come in and get these. These are already pre-made. We can make them for you, or you can pick out the plants and make them yourself. It's a great little gift idea, or it's a great thing to do around your home. I know that I have a little collection of plants in a pot. I think I've got like 3 or 4 little plants in a pot, and sometimes I'll go in there and just pop a little poinsettia in for the season. Just adds a little bit of holiday cheer to an arrangement you might have in your home already. But those little miniature poinsettias can be used for so many different things, because that little pot is easy to work into anything. Just that little tiny little pot with that nice single stem poinsettia with that gorgeous color, and you can just pop that into a lot of different things. So they're a lot of fun to work with because you can do lots of different things with it. So that's really it for poinsettias. Red, marble, white, blues, the Picassos, the pinks. There's so many to choose from. Plus, sometimes we'll have an arrangement of 3 different types, like pink, red, and white all in one, or red and white mix. So you got lots and lots of choices for poinsettias. They're absolutely stunning. It is the holiday plant of all holiday plants for sure. And so pretty easy to take care of. Like I said, if you want to try and get them to bloom next year, I gave you those tips. I typically say, let the growers do it. Buy a new one each year because you can always change up your color. You might fit it into a different look that you might have, and that's why I love them. It's kind of like the reason I love pansies. So let's jump to some outdoor plants real quick. And we'll do those, and then I'll kind of go back into some indoor stuff and kind of go from there. But I love pansies because you can change the color every year. And so, yeah, they're an annual, and they don't last. They're not perennials. They're not going to come back year after year. But they give you a lot of color. They bloom their entire life cycle. Pansies love this cool weather. Mine are just gorgeous right now, blooming. Look great. And I love the blue color. This is blue. I know it kind of maybe like might look a little purple on your screen, but it's really a blue. We got lots and lots of choices of pansies. And every year I can do a different color. It's the same for poinsettias. You know, every year you can change the color. So pansies are a great holiday plant. You can spruce up some planters with it. You can work them into your landscape. It's not too late to plant them, so you can still get pansies. We still have a good selection of those. What else can we grow outside? Let's see, we've got hellebores. I absolutely love hellebores. So winter rose, hellebores, Linton rose, sorry, is another name. So you might know it by Linton rose, you might know it by Hellebores or hellebores. Gorgeous, gorgeous winter plants. They bloom typically in this area in the January, February to March timeframe, but we do have some in that are blooming already, so you can bring this indoors for a little decoration if you want to. They make great little cut flowers, but they're just awesome in the landscape. They are so easy to grow. They're deer resistant. They don't have a lot of pest issues. They like a little bit of shade, so they do like some shade. Now, in the winter months, they don't need it as much, so if you plant it under a tree that's already lost its leaves, that's fine. It wants the shade in the summer, so that is perfectly a great spot for it. But hellebores are super, super durable plants. They come in a wide arrangement of colors, but this one is a white one, which I just love that crisp, cool white color. A lot of times the flowers will hang and you'll just see kind of a look like that, which I think is okay. But these actually stay very sturdy and straight upright and kind of look at you in the face, which I think is really cool. So, and they just keep on kicking blooms. They just keep on going all winter long. So hellebores, we've got a good selection of these. It's a great time to plant these. You're going to find the best selection of hellebores over the next 3 months. So all the way from now, mid-December, all the way till about mid-March is going to be prime time hellebore season, and we carry a lot of different varieties. I love these. They're awesome. And so Ruth said they're so expensive. I do agree. They are expensive. So this one right here is $34.99, but they're valuable because they just keep on kicking blooms. They're super durable. You can separate them and spread them around if you want to later as they kind of start to get a little bit bigger. But hellebores are awesome. Yes, I agree. They have gotten expensive over the years, but they are collectible. There's a lot of varieties out there. And if you have a tough, shady spot that you haven't been able to grow much, try a hellebore. It is a winner. It is awesome. It does well all the time. All right, so what else can we do outside? You know what I think I did? I forgot to bring in my Yuletide camellia. I actually think it's right outside the door, but I'll grab that later. But camellias are awesome outdoor plants. So if you're getting out in your landscape and you're going to plant some outdoor plants, camellias are awesome. This is the Shishi Gashira. The Yuletide is a red flower. It's a single flower with a yellow stamen. It's very pretty. It looks kind of like a Christmas flower, and they work great in the landscape. This is called Shishi Gashira, which has a pink flower, and you can just see it's just loaded with flowers. So let me tell you the difference between a Camellia Sasenkwa and a Camellia Japonica. So a lot of us know camellias. Camellia Japonicas grow. They need a little bit of afternoon shade. They really do love it. They all typically get in that 8 to 10 foot high and wide range. Big, huge flowers, gorgeous plants, but they do have some issues. But Camellia Sasenkwa, which are your fall blooming camellias, they are much easier to grow. They can take sun all the way to shade. They're super, super durable. They do have smaller flowers, so they've got smaller flowers, but they flower very, very heavily. So easy plant to grow. The Shishi Gashira gets about 5 by 5. Typically 4 by 4, 5 by 5, kind of a shrub range. Is camellia deer resistant? Yes. They don't eat the camellias. Sometimes they'll pick off the blooms here and there, but typically they don't mess with the leaves. I got somebody bringing me my Yuletide now, so I can show you that one. Thank you, thank you. I completely forgot to bring it. So here's the Yuletide. Let's see if I can find a bloom in there for you. So there's the really pretty Yuletide bloom. So this one's got the red flower, single flower with yellow stamens. Camellias are deer resistant. I have lots of deer. I planted the autumn rocket, which is another one I didn't bring in because typically in a container, they're probably starting to bloom out a little bit by now. But mine are blooming right now at home. They look gorgeous. My mom has them as well. They are just awesome, awesome camellias. So camellias are really, really easy to grow. The Yuletide, let me pull that one back up. As you can see, the habit is a little bit more upright. So these are going to grow about somewhere between 6 to 8 feet high, maybe a little bit bigger if they have some time. I usually use about a 10-year estimate on size. 6 to 8 feet tall, maybe 10 feet tall by about 3 to 4 feet wide. So very columnar, very upright. So they're great framing plants. They're great in containers. So plant a Yuletide camellia with some pansies around it, and it'll do great for you all the way through the holiday season. And they call it Yuletide because it blooms all the way through Christmas. Now, if we get a really, really cold frost or freeze, sometimes the blooms will freeze off, but the buds that are still closed will still open. And that would be only an early freeze. But camellias are awesome. The Shishi Gashira, the Yuletide, and the autumn rocket. The autumn rocket is a pure white bloom. Really, really pretty plant. One of my favorites. But I love the Yuletide. I got a big old one when I bought the house. It's huge. It's probably 30 years old. It's probably 10, 15 feet tall, pruned up as a tree. So Yuletide camellias, Shishi Gashiras, and autumn rocket, all of them are camellias Sasenkwas, and they are awesome. You should definitely grow some of those. So that kind of talks about some of the outdoor plants. Let me move this kind of out of the way. Another one that I'll bring up is Cyclamen, as we kind of migrate back inside a little bit. Cyclamen can be grown inside, but they also can take it pretty chilly, which is nice because if you got a small pot, like I've got a little bistro table on my front porch, I always put a little pot of stuff there. Sometimes I'll just stuff it with some fresh greens, like a little porch pot, which I talked about a few weeks ago. But Cyclamen are great too. They can take it pretty cold. You typically don't want them to freeze, but below, anything below 40, maybe I'll bring it in. But typically anything above that, which we typically have in this area, they do great. You watch the watering on these. You don't want to get them too wet. You don't want to let them get too dry. So again, it's a little bit more of that evenly moist type of plant. So just watch it. If you got a big wind, a lot of times we get a lot of wind in the winter. So if you're growing this outside, just watch the wind. If you're growing it inside, it's a little bit easier. It just typically will dry out a little bit faster sometimes inside because it's a little bit cooler outside. But they love cool weather. They continue to bloom. Cyclamen are another great plant. Like I mentioned earlier, we've got some mini ones, as you can see here in that little arrangement. We've got white. We've got some ruffle ones. We just got a huge collection of these in. They are absolutely stunning. So we just got a lot of Cyclamen in, and there's mini ones as well. So sticking to the outside and inside kind of options, herbs. I always think of herbs for the holiday season because you're cooking, you're making ham or turkey or whatever you might be having for your Christmas or Thanksgiving time. This is a rosemary topiary, a rosemary cone. These are absolutely amazing. I mean, that fragrance is just great. You can grow rosemary inside. I do typically recommend, they love it outside right now with these kind of slightly warmer temperatures. I know we're going to be in like the 60s this weekend. So grow these outside, bring them inside for a party or bring them inside when you're having dinner because you get that great aroma, and then you might take it back out for a little vacation. I typically bring mine inside for somewhere about 5 to 7 days. That's about the most that I'll bring it in, and then I'll usually take it back out. But this rosemary cone is great. You can plant this after the season and you get a nice big bush of rosemary. So really pretty. These come in reeds. These come in cones, smaller cones, bigger cones, lots and lots of different shapes and sizes. Make a great gift as well, especially if you got a cook or something that you want to give a gift to. They would love this. So rosemary is awesome for cooking, but it's that great fragrance. Put some lights on this. You can have a little Christmas tree with this. So lots and lots of uses for the rosemary as well. On that herb kick, we've also got lavender, little lavender trees. Look at that cute little lavender tree. Make a great gift. Great aroma as well in that pretty blue color. So you can kind of see the difference there from rosemary to lavender, that kind of really pretty blue color. These are evergreens outside, so you can plant them outside, but you can also bring them inside for a short time. You can grow them inside. You'd want a very bright window. You got to watch your watering and those types of things. But lavender and rosemary are great container plants because you can take them inside, outside, but they can take the cold too, so you don't have to worry about the temperatures outside. They can take it. So lavender and rosemary are great options. We also have a great collection of herbs, but really I love this little combination of herbs here. So this one is a ham seasoning mix. So it's got oregano, thyme, and rosemary. So right here you can see the thyme, love that. And then you can see the lavender here, and then the oregano right here. And so all of these are cold hardy herbs, so you're not going to have to worry about the cold temperatures. If it was getting really, really cold, maybe down below 32, then I might bring it inside for a couple days just to make sure it stays really nice and fresh for my Christmas ham. But these are great to cut on. You can go and plant them in your garden. You can plant them in a bigger pot. But this is a great little collection. Again, another great little gift idea. We're going to be talking about gifts next week, but this is a great one. It's actually got a recipe on the back for a herb crusted ham. So there you go. You can use all these herbs to bake your ham. Lots and lots of choices there. A couple different collections in that group, but those herbs look stunning. The smell is amazing. Just kind of brings that, that summer garden experience back to life and bring it into your home for a few days or keep it outside on the front porch. So we've got lots and lots of herbs as well. All right, so now let's get back into the indoor side and talk about some more holiday plants, some things that I love to decorate my home with during the holiday season. There's lots and lots of choices. Of course, I think we all think about holiday cactus. So I'll talk about this one first, holiday cactus there. Holiday cactus are very easy to grow. I call them holiday cactus. There's a lot of different varieties of these. Some that bloom more in Thanksgiving, some that bloom a little bit closer to Christmas, kind of depends. But it's basically a very easy plant to grow. Think of a cactus succulent type of feel to it. So they don't require a lot of care. They do like medium to high light. So again, you want a brighter light situation, but they do like it cool. So if you got a cooler temperature, that helps kind of form these buds. That's always a question that's always asked is, I've got a holiday cactus, but I want to get it to bloom. Then you want to get in a cooler condition. That is what will help stimulate these buds and get it to start blooming again, because it's used to blooming around the holiday season as we cool down. That's how they go. There's a lot of different varieties. I won't get into too much of the specifics. I don't know that I know all the specifics. If you've got specific questions on the ones that you have maybe at home, you can definitely email us or make some questions here and I will get back to you. But there's a lot of choices, lots of different colors, whites, pinks, reds, really pretty. I love that kind of hanging. I love these in hanging baskets because the flower kind of hangs down and looks at you. So if you have a great place for a hanging basket, you can pop this into a hanging basket. You can also just put this in a nice little pot like this. They come just in a normal little 6-inch plastic pot. We've got a couple different sizes. They're really, really cool. Lots and lots of choices, and you can just see all those little, see that little pink, all those little pink little buds? So those are just all gonna turn into blooms. So really pretty one. And of course, kind of another one of those quintessential holiday plants that scream. It's the holiday season. It's a great one. So I see a question there, do you sell them during Easter? Typically we do. So you can always check back then. We usually do carry them. We also carry lots of bulbs during the Easter season. So it just depends on if they're available, if we can get them from the growers. But holiday cactus is another one of my favorites for the holiday season. Another bloom that kind of tells me it's Christmas is Amaryllis. So you can see this really pretty one back here. Now this one is really blooming. So I just wanted to show you that because look at that flower. I mean, just a pure white, gorgeous bloom. I don't think you can quite see it on the camera, but there's a little fade of pink in there. But it's just a really, really stunning bloom. And there's 4 of them on this stalk. So you just get this really simple stalk. Looks very classic. This one is called Mont Blanc. So really pretty, always reminds me of the holiday season is Amaryllis. Great looking blooming plant. What I do is typically, so we've got a couple of these so you can see what they look like. Let me get that back in there. But when you buy one, look at that. I've got some pollen. Got some pollen on me from my Amaryllis there. But when you buy them, I like to buy them like this because you know you're going to get the longevity of the blooms out of them. So Amaryllis actually are a bulb that you can plant outside. They come back year after year. They typically will bloom in the spring to summertime frame, somewhere in that range. But Amaryllis are an easy one to grow outside. Inside, to get them to bloom like this, they need to go through a cooling period. They need to think they just went through winter. So Amaryllis, typically what you'll do is you'll go plant them in the yard and you'll leave them and you'll just enjoy them out in your yard. They come back year after year. They're very easy. This is a really nice one. It's a double, so you got another one coming up here, and then you got this one that's about to start blooming. So this one's going to come up, start blooming very soon. It's starting to get really close. You can start to see that bud opening up there, right there, starting to open up. And then you get this long shoot with that one, and then you'll get another one coming here, and you'll get some leaves too as well. It's a really pretty foliage as well. So Amaryllis, one of those favorite ones for the holiday season. They do need to think that so that's what I was talking about was they need to kind of, let me get this back in its bag. So Amaryllis will bloom after going through a cool-off period. So these have been prepared. We'll sell prepared bulbs, so we've got some still that you can plant and they'll start to bloom because they think they've gone through winter and it's starting to warm up and they think it's spring. You can plant them. So I see Deborah says, do you plant yours during the spring? I do typically. I'll kind of keep it in the home through the cool winter months so that it doesn't go from thinking it's in spring to all of a sudden thinking it's in winter. I'll usually let it warm back up, plant them in the spring, keep them going until then, and then I'll plant them in the spring and just enjoy them in my yard. Sometimes you might get rid of them. That's up to you. Some people I know will dig them up, put them in like the fridge or the freezer or something like that. I wouldn't put them in the freezer, but put them in the fridge and kind of get them through that cool time frame. Maybe put them under their house where it stays nice and cool, and then bring them out a little bit closer to Christmas, and you can get them to grow. And then it says, what growing, so Wendy says, what growing zone do Amaryllis need? Let's see, I don't know if, I think they can take, I don't know if this tag tells me, and I don't know if I know the zones right off the top of my head. I know in our zone it does fine. It does not have a zone on here. So I will have to let you know. In fact, actually my other one might have it. Because I know there's always a range of zones and I'm not 100% sure. That's one of those things that I never kind of really remember all of my zones for everything. So let's see if this one has it on here. Let's see. I don't think it does. Because it's one of those prepared ones. So you plant it from September to December. It blooms from December to March. It doesn't have a zone necessarily on this one. But I know that they make it through our winters. So completely fine here in this area. I would think probably zones, you know, somewhere probably between 6, maybe 7 to 9 is probably my guess. I'll get back to you and find out the exact zones on Amaryllis. And there's a lot of different varieties, and some are probably a little bit more acclimated to growing outdoors, and some are probably a little bit acclimated more to growing for florist kind of arrangements like this. So I know like Amaryllis belladonna is one of my favorites. It grows very, very well in this area. All right, so other holiday plants that I love to use around the home, of course, orchids. Orchids are absolutely stunning. Look at this guy. This is a moth orchid. Moth orchids are one of my favorites because they're very easy to grow. They bloom for a very, very long time. They're pretty low maintenance. So I think a lot of people that try orchids typically mess up because they baby them too much. It's like, I really got to pamper them. But they really don't need a whole lot of care. Wet, dry cycle, let them dry out, soak them really good, let them dry out, kind of the same process as normal. This one is gorgeous because what they have done is they've trained that stalk up this wire. You can see this kind of wire in here. And then they bent it over so you get this waterfall effect. So this is called an Orchid Waterfall. It's a moth orchid. Really, really stunning. Comes in this glass right here. Really pretty. So this is a great gift, great centerpiece for a table. If you're making a tablescape or you're decorating for the holiday season, orchids are awesome. This is just a really, really stunning one. I mean, let's count all the blooms. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 more coming, and these can continue to grow. So you can just kind of see that bud there at the end, right there. So that should continue to kind of keep on creeping out and growing more blooms. So it's a really, really good one, and you can keep the waterfall effect going just by staking this back to that stake. So just pulling it back because you got a little bit more length on that stake. So this is a waterfall, really pretty. Moth orchids are one of my favorites because they're very easy. They bloom for a long time. Here's another moth orchid. This is a great gift idea because it comes in this really nice ceramic pot, decorated off with some moss, and then I love this grapevine twig. Look at that. I love any kind of contorted grapevine twig. That one's really pretty. So it's got some grapevine in it. It's staked to it, so it's kind of its stalk. and it's just a really pretty moth orchid. So again, white. We've got lots of moth orchids in different colors. We got different arrangements. You can get the mini ones all the way to these bigger ones. And then of course, we've got a lot of different types of orchids as well. So if you're an orchid collector, you can always check us out. We always are getting more in, and orchids are a great thing to grow. But I love those moth orchids during the holiday season. Sometimes we'll get the blue ones in, purple, marble look, lots and lots of choices. Moth orchids are one of my go-to. If you're given a gift, it's the first orchid I try because they really kind of thrive on a little bit of neglect. And so that's what you would tell it if you're giving somebody a gift, an orchid as a gift, just let them know that, hey, look, don't pamper this thing. Put it in a medium light room. It doesn't need to be right in a window. In fact, it would prefer not to be. And then just let it keep on blooming and doing its thing. And then once the stalk kind of starts to die back, you can kind of cut it and just see if maybe you'll get a little force of another blooms. But typically it'll go all the way back down to the stalk. You cut it down at the base, and then a new one will come out in the next year. So moth orchids, one of my favorites. All right. Couple other things here that I'll show you is a Frosty Fern. So these I'll kind of start to breeze through a little bit just to kind of show you a couple different little options. Love this Frosty Fern with that little variegated white foliage. Again, a great thing to mix into other plants, likes medium to low light. Very, very kind of easy one to grow if you got a lower light situation. Looks great in a little white pot. You know, put a little red cardinal in it or something, a little ornament, really easy to grow. But Frosty Ferns, they like to stay a little bit more on the moist side. So if you're a little bit of a heavier waterer, ferns love a little bit more moisture. And so this one works great, a little pretty Frosty Fern. We also have lots of little great arrangements that are great gifts. So, or also just something to bring in the home. I love this with this mug, the little gingerbread on the front, and then the little gingerbread steak. It's got a calancho in it, or calancholia, however you pronounce it. I always said calancho. So it's got that, a calancho. It's got a little ivy in this nice little pot. And so this is a great little gift, something that you can bring in the home. So if you got something fun, a little tabletop decor, this is a great little piece right here. And let me show you these other small little things that you can do with these tillandsias. So this is cool. So this is a little white glass globe here. So you can kind of see it's almost like a snow globe, but it's just a little glass globe with a little twig and some berries in there. But then it's got this little tillandsia, this little air plant on the top. So this is great. This is very easy to care for. Mist it every once in a while. Looks great. You can pull it out if you want to. I think this one's kind of slightly, yep, it's just stuck in there. So you can kind of see that bottom is just stuck in there. So you can just kind of gently pull this out if you wanted to, and then just put it in some water. That's how I always water my tillandsias. I'll drop them in a cup of water, leave it there for about 15-20 minutes, and then I'm done for the week. But you can also mist them. These work great in a bathroom because you got a lot of humidity from showers and stuff like that. And so you can put these in a bathroom or near a kitchen, which is great because they pick up that humidity from the moisture in the air. So tillandsias are great. We got a lot of these. I'm going to show you some of them. This is the glass one, kind of pretty. We've got this great little snowman. I love that. I don't know if you can quite see it, but he's got this little kind of pointy nose, got this little scarf on, very modern looking little tillandsia hair on this snowman. Really cool. And then we've got this little abominable snowman. So we got a little snow, I think that's, yep, abominable tillandsia. So that's kind of fun for the kids, but also fun for a great little arrangement, a little bigger tillandsia in it. Really kind of cool and fun. And then we've got this polar bear. I absolutely love this polar bear. Very kind of modern looking, got lots of kind of edges, so it's kind of geometric in design. Got this great little scarf, and then he's holding this little tillandsia. So this is great. And then, let's see, we've also got this. So this, we were talking about how you could use tillandsias as ornaments. And you can make them too. They're very easy to do. This is, if you were doing like a beach theme or something, this would be very easy to do. So it's the shell, looks like a jellyfish, obviously, but it's got this tillandsia growing underneath it. You would just take this off your tree every once in a while, spray it, and then you can just hang it back on your tree. And so if you got a beach look, just don't pack this up with your ornaments at the end of the year, and go ahead and bring it back out, and you can hang this in a window or something. But it's a great little way of making an ornament out of a living plant. So Tillandsia, a little jellyfish with the shell on top, really cool and lots of fun. You could also do, like this is, we have a couple pre-made of this little grapevine wreath with a little Tillandsia sitting on the inside. These are really fun. So think about all the different ways you can use Tillandsias around your home for the holidays. We do sell the glue as well, so you can attach them to different things. Sometimes you can just nestle them into areas. They work great on tablescapes. I love Tillandsias. Very, very easy plants to grow. Also talking about gift ideas. My son would love this. Groot. So we've got this little Groot planter with lots of different types of plants in the top, lots of foliage plants. Very, very kind of fun gift idea. Also, if you're looking for gift ideas for the gardener, the terrariums are awesome. We've got a lot of really cool pre-made terrariums. So look at this one right here. So this is already done, pre-packaged. It's got lots of mosses in there. It's got a couple other little plants in there. So this is just a great little terrarium. You can see all of it in there. Really, really easy to do. It does have an air hole on it, so that's nice. Comes in this pre-packaged setup, so it's really easy to just take home. You don't have to worry about it. You can give it as a gift, but these make great little gifts, but also just something to add to your table for the holiday season. We have a great collection of these as well. Be careful with this one. This one's a wine bottle. This is really cool because it's like two-tiered. So we've got the top tier. You can take that off, and you've got this little plant in the top with some moss in it. You can cover that up. And then you can open this one up and you've got some more plants down there. So terrariums are a lot of fun, very easy to do, kind of create that little microclimate inside. You can see the condensation on the inside, so that's the idea, is the soil has moisture in it. With the sunlight coming in, it evaporates, collects on the side of the, and then recycles and just kind of keeps on recycling. So terrariums are very easy to grow. You can mist these, you can gently water them. The nice thing about this one is it's very easy to open, and you can just trim the plants back if you need to, if they start to get too big. But we also have a huge collection of small indoor plants right now. So if you want some mini ferns, some mini foliage, mini calanchoias, mini succulents, lots and lots of mini little plants, so you can make your own arrangement again. I think that's a great gift. Take a simple pot like this, put a couple different plants in there, maybe a mini poinsettia, makes a great gift that you gave yourself, or again, you can pick up some pre-done ones like this. Really, really nice. Another one of those plants that I love to grow during the holiday season is Norfolk Island pine. Love this. One of my good friends, his dad had one for years and years. It was a huge one. It was gorgeous. They used it as a Christmas tree every year. You could put lights on it. It's very easy to grow, medium to high light. Wet dry cycle, pretty easy to grow. Once you find the right spot for it, you can just keep grading this up into a slightly bigger pot, and you can have a nice big Norfolk Island pine to decorate every year. Really pretty branches. I love these plants. Look great with lights on it, especially those little micro lights, those little indoor lights. Look great. So Norfolk Island pines always remind me of the holiday season. Love to take these, put some multi-lights on them. Fun for the kids, fun for everybody of all ages. Really, really nice. All right, I think I'm getting close to the end here. I'm starting to run out of plants. I got a couple more that I'm going to show you. So this is a Madagascar, I think that's what we call it, Madagascar Jasmine. The fragrance is amazing. It is absolutely stunning. It's grown on this hoop here, so it's a vine. It is tropical, so you don't want to plant this outside. You can keep it in a container and grow it year after year, but it's a really, really great one. It typically blooms in the summer, so again, kind of same idea. It's been tricked. It thinks that it's coming out of winter, going into summer, coming out of spring, going into summer, and so it's thinking that it's a good time to bloom. So it's been forced, but these are absolutely amazing fragrance. Smells just like jasmine. Very, very cool looking plant. So this is a really, really nice one, this jasmine. All right. And then we've got, another one of my favorite ones. It's the Grinch Mystery. So, we all know the Dr. Seuss story. This is basically a cypress tree that has wire wrapped around it, and it's just been grown to kind of form this little shape. At the end of the season, probably take the wire off, shear it a little bit as we get into the summertime frame, as it starts to kind of regrow, and you've got a great little cypress tree that you can go back, wrap wire around it. You typically probably want to leave it like this for maybe more than maybe about 2 months maybe. But this is a great little Merry Grinch Mystery. Great gift idea. Lots of fun for the kids. We got one this year, so I'm growing it for the first time this year in my home. It's doing great. Bright light, sits right in my bay window on our kitchen table. It's just a lot of fun for the kids. So you got this little ornament and it's wrapped in wire. We'll take the wire off at the end of the season and let it grow naturally, and then maybe we can keep it and do it again next year. So a really, really good one. And then I saw this plant. I absolutely think this is stunning. So I love Cal and Chloe or Kalanchoe because they're very easy. It's like a succulent, so wet dry cycle. They need medium to bright light, but they bloom very heavily for a very long time, and they're very easy to grow. I love this one because it's got this variegation to it. Really pretty red bloom with this white variegated edge. And so we call it candy cane. So Cal and Chloe or Kalanchoe candy cane. So this is a really pretty plant. I just thought that was absolutely stunning. Let me take it out of the package. Maybe you'll be able to see it a little bit better. Look at that. Look at that variegation. It's just gorgeous. Oh, a little broken branch there. But I just thought that was stunning. I just thought that was really, really amazing. I think I had seen these before, but I don't know if this is the first year we've carried them. Maybe I just missed it last year, but I think that is stunning. I think one of those is going to have to go home for me for sure with me. So really excited about that one. And we've got a couple different sizes of that as well, 6-inch and 4-inch. So really pretty plant. And then the last one that I want to talk about is citrus. We have a great citrus selection. So we've got limes. This is a lime right here. So really, really nice. This is, let's see, I think this was a lime. Yep, lime. I don't know if it has the variety on there. But limes, lemons, calamundans, oranges, lots and lots of different citrus plants. Love these because the blooms on them are super, super fragrant. Smell almost like that jasmine. They're just gorgeous. Very easy to care for. And you can get a lot of citrus out of them over time. Each one of these blooms right here is going to form a fruit. So if you're growing it inside and it's blooming right now, I typically will tell people to take a Q-tip or a watercolor brush, a little light paint brush, and just touch all the flowers because we don't have the insects that are collecting the pollen and moving them from flower to flower. A lot of people, like some people that I know that will grow these in their garage. So you can open up the garage door in the winter when you got a nice day, gets lots of sunlight, warms up a little bit. Most of our garages that are attached to our homes stay a little bit warmer. So that's an option. But these can get some size over time, but you want them to kind of bulk up. The more branches, the stronger the branches, the more blooms you'll get and the more fruit you'll get. So limes, I got a lemon here I'll show you. Lemons have a slightly bigger leaf, so you can see that. And look at that blooming right there. Oh, just love that fragrance. Really good. It's kind of like a citrusy jasmine fragrance. It's a really pretty fragrance. These are easy to grow. We've done lots and lots of classes. We'll probably do a big class on it in the February timeframe as we really get heavy into citrus, but we got a great collection right now. So if you're looking for a gift for the gardener or you're looking to add to your collection in your home, you might try citrus. Now these, you cannot plant outside. They will not make it through a hard frost or freeze. But you do bring them indoors. I like to grow mine year-round inside, so really, really great plant for the holiday season. Kind of reminds me of Christmas and just the citrus, and it's just a lot of fun to grow. And then the last thing I want to talk about before I say goodbye and have a great weekend is you probably have a lot of indoor plants. So if you got a lot of indoor plants, think about how you can make them a little bit more cheery for the holiday season, whether it's adding ornaments to them, decorating the container with ribbon. We've talked a lot about how you can use ribbon to decorate your plants. You can also add lights. So like I grabbed this aglaonemia, just a basic indoor plant. It doesn't scream holiday, doesn't scream Christmas. But if you have one of these or you were interested in getting one or you're giving one as a gift and you want to dress it up for the holiday season, you can add some different things to it. I absolutely love these lights. So let's see if we can do this real quick for you. So this is my micro LED lights. It's a bunch, so we'll turn them on. So there we go. And what they do is they have all these different strands. So these look great in poinsettias, but if you've got just some everyday foliage plants in your home, whether it's Dieffenbachia, maybe it's an orchid that you've been growing, any kind of greenery or fern, any of those things, and you just want to add a little bit of Christmas cheer to them because you got a lot of them, Adding some lights to them are great, and I love this light because it just kind of dances all over the place, kind of plays in there. And look at, whoop, almost broke my pot there. And there you go. So you can see kind of what you get there. You get a lot of little light in there. It's really fun for the holiday season, and I get all these strands to work with. These work great on the Norfolk Island pine. They work great on poinsettias, but any kind of indoor foliage plant that you might have that you want to add some light to, this is a great one. Battery operated, has a timer setting, really, really simple. Pop that in there, and you can decorate any plant for the holiday season with lights, ribbon, ornaments, lots and lots of choices. So as we start to continue to decorate and continue to get closer and closer to the Christmas season, think about all your plants. If you've got some gifts that you want to give and you've got gardeners that you're giving gifts to, then definitely look at all the different options out there. There's lots and lots of choices. Poinsettias are your go-to. I love them. Lots of different colors. Come in and check those out. Orchids, the jasmine, the combinations, the Grinch Mystery, that sweet looking kalanchoe with the candy cane color on it. Think about outside herbs, hellebores, Yuletide camellias, pansies. The list goes on and on. I mean, we're a garden center. We've got plants. So if you're a plant lover, then definitely want to come in and check out all the selection that we have as we continue to go into the January, February timeframe. But if you're thinking about the holiday season, we've got a great collection. So if you want to drop off something to a neighbor, to a friend, to a loved one, pick up a poinsettia, deliver it to them. It'll make their day, make their holiday season. If you've got, I know we're not working in offices as much. I know we're not doing a lot of those things. We're not going to holiday parties. But it's a great time to look inside and look at your own home, or look outside and look at some of those things that you might want to plant around your home or decorate your indoor spaces with. So I hope everybody had a good day. I think Deborah had a couple questions. Do you sell the cactus orchid? We do. I don't think I have it right now. So I'll have to check on that one for you, Deborah. I know we carry it randomly throughout the year, but I'll check on that and let you know. And then Deborah also said, I bought home some of the sand from York Beach to do a terrarium. Any suggestions? Deborah, I would clean it. Would be probably my best option, just because in case it's got something in there that you don't want. But I mean, it's just sand, so I would probably just do it with soap and water. Put it in a very fine strainer if you can. Maybe line it with a coffee filter, something to kind of help wash it off a little bit. You might take it outside and put it on a tarp. Wash it down a little bit, just get a little bit of soap and water in there, clean it, kind of rinse it through a few times just to make sure there's nothing in there. If it's moist, then on a sunny day like this weekend looks gorgeous. I think there's a small chance of rain here and there, Deborah, but take it outside, let it dry out really good in sun, lay it on a piece of cardboard or a piece of plastic or something, let it dry out so that you can use it and you don't have a lot of that moisture buildup. So a lot of times our sand is very, very moist, has a lot of moisture in it, and then if you put it out in the sun, put it on a thin layer, make it nice and thin, kind of spread it out, then you should be good to go. So I don't see that there'd be any issues, Deborah. I might try and clean it if I felt like it was dirty, but it's probably okay. Might have a little salt buildup in it, but probably not too much. So that would be my only advice there. So all right, I think that is everything. I don't think there were any other questions there. Love the orchid and the Frosty Fern. Yep, thank you, Wendy. We've got a great collection. And we've got some amazing plants, and so we're just super, super excited to be getting closer and closer to Christmas. We've got lots and lots of choices, lots of gorgeous poinsettias. Come in and check them out. I mean, just look at that Picasso and that one. Look at that. And then just the red behind me with any kind of white flower, the whites, the blues, the marbles, the winter rose. There's so many different choices. So we hope to see you soon. If you can make it by, definitely stop by. We got a lot of choices to choose from, lots of holiday plants. We're a garden center always and forever. So we always will have plants, and we've got a great collection. We've also got some amazing ornaments, lots of different things going on here. So come check us out this holiday season if you haven't already, or come back and see us because we're ever changing. Every week our inventory gets different and more diversified. So keep checking us out, and we hope to see you soon. I hope you all have a great weekend. I will be back next week with the great gift ideas, some of my favorite tools, all of those little different things, lots of gift ideas that we have here at the Garden Center. And then we'll talk about winter birding to wrap up the December month, and we'll start to look forward into our January timeframe and all the different topics that we'll talk about in January and February as well. as we kind of get closer to spring. Amazing to think spring is around the corner, right? So, all right, everybody, have a great weekend. It's supposed to be a gorgeous weekend. Get out, work in the yard, work on your home, continue to decorate. Have a great one. Enjoy, and I will see you all next week. Bye.